Okay. Here we go. There's that. That should be the first poll. Got the live chat pulled up. Everything seems to be coming in. There's this right here. I got a couple drinks. Okay, so let me first go in here and see if there's any channel update that needs to be discussed. I don't think there is necessarily. I'm still working on chapters for 7:30:25, 8:2:25, and 8:6:25. Though 7:30:25 is almost done being broken down into chapters. The Silver Surfer and Thing videos are done. They have been added already. Oh, okay, and I just edited last night adding Megan to the shelf. So I've got to get a thumbnail for her, and then she's ready to be posted. And then that'll be that for that video, and then I go right back to making chapters. That's what I've been working on. Anything that I've been doing currently has been doing the chapters for the lives, because the lives have really kind of become what we're doing here. Unless I get like something that hits me, like a news thing or a topic that I feel we really need to talk about. For the most part, we've just been very much sticking to having the chapters of the lives cut into videos, so that if you don't make it to the live and you don't want to watch the whole live, you don't have to. That's the whole reason that those are done in the first place. So currently, let me check where we're starting out here. We have, currently looks like Frazetta is currently winning. We're 2 minutes into vote, so we're going to see how that pans out. I did the channel update. There isn't too much else really to talk about, except for maybe some of the things that are possibilities in the show tonight, because wow, a lot of stuff showed up. Like a lot of stuff I was not necessarily expecting. Hey, what's going on, man? Because we got Conan from Frazetta Icons. We have Fantastic Four, She-Hulk was added. Oh, Omega Red and War Machine were added to the show. A couple of G.I. Joes were added to the show, which are pretty big ones. Nothing was added to Origins. I haven't picked up anything Origins in a while. And nothing was added to DC Icons. Or, sorry, not DC Icons, but DC Multiverse. Nothing's been added to that to bring in as of right now. And we've only got one Super 7 left, and then that'll be completely off the count, completely off the show. We won't be talking about that at all, because there'll be nothing left to talk about. And I don't know how long that's going to last. Like, the Super 7 figures, to me, offer a couple of problems. Like, there's things I like about them, and things that feel horrifically dated. Like, and I know this is a weird thing, but this is a weird thing, and I actually think it's something to bring up. There. No way, man. Hey, what's going on? How you do, fellow kids? Yeah, no joke. So I was noticing this. Why does Movie Conan... This bothered me. I was trying to get a shot a couple days ago. Movie Conan sits. See that? See how he sits? I know that doesn't sound like a big deal until you try to put Super 7 Conan on the throne. He will not sit. He doesn't have the ability. He does not have the articulation to sit. Now, I don't know, and I've been told that this is a re-release. And if that's true, maybe he's just old articulation that will not allow him to do that. I don't know. I don't have that information. I can't say that 100% sure. But he won't do it. Like, even if we pull up the cloth and get it completely out of his way, it just, no. It's never going to happen. He has these weird, like, ball joints. Here, let's look at Conan's butt, shall we? Let's all look at Conan's butt. See, he has these ball joints right here, but they don't go up enough. He will never sit. He'll never even get close to the idea of sitting down. You cannot get a shot, any shot, any photography at all that will ever allow this man to sit down. But the same company released another Conan that sits his butt perfectly on the throne. Like, it just seems weird to me, because I've seen the other Conan figures, like without the shirt, the movie Conans, the Arnold Conans, and they're built a lot like this. So it's, I don't know, there had to have been a change in articulation somewhere where they figured out that was going to be a problem. I don't know. I really don't. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, very much so. The tariffs are hitting again. It is affecting almost everything in terms of toys. We are seeing plastic go up, amongst many other serious things too. Yes, when we're here, we talk about the plastic. That's the thing we talk about. It bothers us because that's very much that thing that's affecting our hobby. But if we're being perfectly real about it, it's affecting everything. And we are starting to feel it. And as everything goes up, as prices get bigger and our wallets kind of constrict, it makes deciding what you're going to pick up that much more of a deal, which is another reason I was saying I don't know that we're going to be seeing another Super 7. Like, I love Conan. You know that. If they're going to offer me a Conan, they have a very good chance, even if it's not the greatest one, that they have my attention. I will probably buy it to check it out. But then the thing that kills me is that I don't believe that Super 7 is worth the price that it charges, even for figures I want. Like, I've always kind of felt like that. So I really don't know. I'll be very surprised if we see a Conan Super 7 after this point for a while. But that's okay. I got what I wanted. I got Conan, I got King Conan, I got the throne. It'll be a while before I see something else that I really care about anyway, I imagine. We'll see. What's going on, man? Oh, we are playing the tie game again. We have a 3-way tie running so far. That man needs no shirt. Super 7 Conan looks like a blown-up Happy Meal toy. Ouch. Here's what I'm going to say. I've spent a little time with him. I took a couple pictures. His articulation is a problem. Like, that is not great. It makes for difficulties. He's kind of stiff. He only can stand. I told you he can't sit, which makes certain poses and whatnot difficult. Like if you want to give him that angry face and you want him to have a sword fight with somebody, he's always in some sort of guarding position, or he just did a hard slash or something like that where he's coming across. He can, I mean, it's rough on him. Like, he can get something kind of like this, or you know what I mean, like he can kind of come down on somebody or whatever, but it's rough. His articulation is limited, like most Super 7. He gets the job done for what he is as an older figure, but he is overpriced. That being said, I haven't hated him so far. I really haven't. I just haven't. I haven't hated him. I like Conan. I'm willing to forgive a little bit more, but I'm also willing to be more harsh with certain Conans. Like I've said before on the show, If you sell me a Conan and it's a bad Conan, I'm done with your line. I don't think they did a bad Conan. I think they did an outdated Conan. If you'd have bought this Conan back when Classics was a thing, back when Motu Classics was a thing, he would have been perfect. However, Motu Classics, regardless of how people seem to want to think about it, was a long time ago. A long time ago. So he's outdated. I wouldn't call him a bad figure. I would call him outdated, and I would call him overpriced. That's where I sit with him right now after having some time with him. Last night, several people got an email from Big Bad Toy Store for their Elite Edition of the Dark Ages Doomslayer, and it went up from $6 to $71. Ouch! Holy crap! That's elite! I'm sorry. I apologize. I have to give McFarlane crap. Wow, man. That is... You better love Doom. You better love Doom. Marvel Legends has won the first poll. Because I'm telling you right now, the fact that... Oh my gosh. Like... Those Elite figures are not worth it. That Doom figure looked good. Looks like a decent figure. I'm not griping on that. But $70 is a lot, man. And I realize that's not the actual price of the item. It has a surcharge added to it, which changes the actual overall price of the item. I'm not saying that. But... regardless of that, I have to say that that's the price that we pay, so that's the price of the figure. There's no way around it. You can argue any way you want about surcharges and tariffs and shipping and handling and everything of that nature. The bottom line of the argument is, what do we pay as a consumer for the item in which we want? And is that figure and or item and or toy and or game or whatever the question be, comic book, whatever, is it worth that price? Even if the price is due to come down here in maybe half a year or whatever, we don't know. But is it worth it? Look, you have to decide that, and nothing personally in the entirety of the Elite line is worth $70. Nothing. I mean nothing. Not one single figure announced is worth that cost. No way. That one's a big hitter. Let's also do... And then we'll go on from there. Looks like we're looking at... Oh, crap. This microphone is in my way. And then what's after this? Oh, okay. There. I can... next time... That was stupid. I don't know why I decided to, like, reach around the mic awkwardly. I could have literally just put the mic down, moved it to the side or whatever. But I chose to make life more difficult for myself for no reason at all. I have no idea what that was about. When you become a king, you get to sit. Are you a king? No, go out there and fight. It's fantastic headcanon. Like I said before, I'll be picking and choosing what I buy and want, what I don't want. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's at that point. I ordered a figure that just came in the mail today. Got the Marvel Legends Spider-Man, black suit Spider-Man. Hey, we talked about him. We put dirt in everybody's eye. And then I went to, so this'll be something for you if you want it. It's a very easy type of kit bash. Go out to Wally's. Any Wally's, they're loaded with them right now. And buy yourself an old man agent figure. Who cares about that old man? You take the head off of him and you toss him away, and you get yourself your Maguire right here in his suit. It's fantastic, okay? I use him in the wrestling ring for pictures and whatnot. It's great. It's a very easy kit bash. You just pop the head off and pop the Maguire head on, and it's fantastic. He looks great. He really does. Tell me that Conan has vertical wrist hinges. No, they're in and outs. They do not up and down. They're just in and outs. He has the in and out movements. No up and down movements. Like most figures, to be fair. And so you pre-ordered the Mortal Kombat figures. I don't know what to think about them. Like, I don't. It's not even like I don't like them or something like that. It has nothing to do with anything like that. I don't know how to feel about them. So right now we have Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Liu Kang. And you know what? Just for the sake of, while we're doing this, let's go ahead and let me bring this up. Right there, I think. And let's do it. Let's talk about them. Oh, it didn't. I messed up. There it is. Yeah. There it is. There's Big Bad. Let's talk about him for a second since we're here. So Scorpion. They look good. Especially for a McFarlane figure, they look good. Some people really hate pins. They don't bother me that bad. And if it's keeping his price point at about $30, then who really cares? I don't know how I feel about the dart. Will that actually be usable in any way? Is that like a string? Because if it's string, we can't really do anything with it. If it was a wire frame, we could do something with it. So the rope, kind of trash. I appreciate that he's giving us the rope. Are we going to be able to do anything with it in terms of action figure photography or even having it on our shelf? Not really. You can't set up anything dynamic. It just kind of hangs there. Thank you for including the dart. But you half-assed it. It's just the way that it is. We're going to have to go out of our way to find a creative way to make that dart useful in terms of action figure photography or display at this point. I almost could have done without it. I appreciate it, but like I said, it doesn't blow my mind. It almost seems like they how do I put this? The packaging also is almost a half-ass from what we've seen from Jada. Like, it's neat that they got this down there, but you didn't land it, okay? You tried, but you didn't land it. The presentation, this is not like an arcade cabinet. Just putting down a pad down here or whatnot doesn't make it an arcade cabinet. I don't even know if I appreciate the effort, is what I'm saying. A simple box probably would have got my attention more than what makes me feel like you tried something that you were never going to succeed at. But overall, at the price point that this guy is at, $30. It's not a terrible figure. We're getting used to paying $30 on the average for figures. I don't necessarily love that, but that is what we are doing. He's fine. He's a good figure. We also have the classic Sub-Zero, which, very simple. He's basically a repaint. Not a bad thing. He's a repaint with a couple of extra parts, I'm sure. but that is what Sub-Zero is. I'm not complaining about that. We have an action pose right here. Well, that's fine. So we have a fighting stance. We have a victory pose. Like, all of this works. None of this is bad. I like it. I really do. I don't think that this line is bad. But to call them out, if you're going to go out of your way to give us a dart, an unusable dart with Scorpion, where is the ice effect for Sub-Zero? Is it behind a paywall? Do I have to buy the Sub-Zero Melina pack to get an ice effect? Or do we just not get an ice effect at all? And there's a couple reasons that bothers me. You're telling me that the entire wave of all DC Multiverse that you did, all those sculpts, all those effects, we don't even have one that could have been recolored blue and packaged with this guy? Not one? Not one. That seems weird to me. No ice effect. Marking it down a little bit on that. Look, we're playing in the $30 fields now, okay? I'm just saying it. These are $30 figures now. And while I appreciate that maybe that kept its price down and kept him at $30, because right now we are dealing with what we're dealing with, that still means that I have to pay $30 to get this guy and he feels a little incomplete. Fair? I didn't say he's a bad figure. But we've got to be honest about the things that we're buying, okay? Otherwise, if you can make your own ice effect, and I'm sure you can, I'm sure we have plenty of figures, we'll figure one out, he's not bad. He's not bad. Lastly, we have Sad Liu Kang. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened to make you sad. Is defending Earthrealm, is it getting old? Are we getting tired of it? What? Why do we have Sad Liu Kang? What is this? What's going on here? Why? Like, I would really even there when he's looking over his back. Why do we have Sad Liu Kang? What was the idea with the face sculpt? Did he think that was somber? The person that sculpted that, did they think that was like him locked in? Like, I'm locked in. I'm serious right now. I'm not messing around. He looks sad or bored. One of two things is going on. Either defending Earthrealm is just so simple at this point that there's no challenge left for the great Liu Kang. Even like, look here. Even back here on the thing on his back, his face does not look like that. He kind of has his mouth open. He's like, oh, and he's kind of thinking it out, and he's ready to fight. And then we get our Liu Kang for the figure, sad face Liu Kang. I don't know what's going on with the face. So this is interesting. I can call out something from each figure. Each figure allows me something that I can say is a problem. That being said, all the cards on the table, I've laid them on the table, I've said what I need to say. Is this a bad line? No. I personally think this shows promise. It is the very beginning of a new wave. I understand he's had Mortal Kombat before. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying this is a new line. He is starting a classic line for Mortal Kombat. He's pushing it out there, and we're getting, right off the bat, we're getting a classic Sub-Zero, we're getting a classic Scorpion, and we're getting a Liu Kang. Those are three heavy hitters out there at the start of the line. All three of them decent figures. You're going to have to make the decision if $30 is worth it right now. But decent figures. All three of them have a flaw. We didn't hit the ground running. This isn't like the best figures we've ever seen, okay? And there is a mild problem with all of them. All three of them share one big problem. And we're going to have to discuss whether or not that's a huge problem or not. They're in the 7-inch scale. Why does that matter? Well, to be perfectly honest, at a 7-inch scale, figures, okay? we have to ask ourselves a real question. Who are we going to put these with? Like when I was growing up, one of the big things that everybody wanted to see, to the point where there were actual internet videos and like flash animations of it, was Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. Not going to happen. Maybe if you buy a bunch of Storm collectible Street Fighters, but let's put this into perspective here. Right now, the Street Fighters most people are buying, I say most, okay? I realize everybody collects different, and you know me, I very much believe in that. All of our collections are going to be different. But to put this into perspective, most people right now are buying Jada Street Fighter. And Storm Arena is making a big hit. They're coming in and they're setting groundwork, and people are kind of debating whether or not they're going to jump back and forth, or whether they're going to leave Jada and they're going to focus on Storm collectibles and let the Storm Arena run its course, and maybe they feel like this is better over here. I'm not here to argue that. I am here to say this. We have 7-inch figures. 7-inch figures. Who are they scaling with? If they're standing next to your Marvel Legends, they look like giants. If they're standing next to the Jada Toys Street Fighters, they look like giants. The only option, and not that it's a bad option, but the only option is to scale them alongside the other McFarlane figures that exist right now and do the Mortal Kombat versus DC. Like that video game we got years ago. Is that a bad thing? No. But is that what you were wanting? Or is this another line on the shelf that really won't scale with anything, but will just kind of be its own thing? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We have plenty of that. I have Ninja Turtles. Oftentimes, the Ninja Turtles are small figures. They usually don't tend to mend well with a lot of other figures on my shelf. That's fair. Even the Super 7 Turtles kind of have problems scaling with other figures in my collection. And most things like the Loyal Subject Turtles are tiny, so they look like midgets next to everybody else. That makes them hard to scale with anybody. That's fair. Does that stop me from buying Turtles? No, it does not. And the NECA Turtles, the movie ones, are big. They're like big figures. They're tall figures. Which ends up, if I want them to be alongside Daredevil or something, kind of like because they were influenced by Daredevil, does that work? No. Daredevil turns out looking small next to them, and that's not really right, because if I'm going to choose one or the other, I kind of like my Turtles to be like smaller than the normal people, because they were small. The Turtles were small. Was smaller, you get the idea. So that makes this a tough line. You either buy it and it stands completely alone, or you buy it and it scales with those old DC figures. I say old because the line is about to end. Or you buy Storm Collectible, which I can't even guarantee that, but Storm Collectible, the original Storm Collectible Mortal Kombat stuff might be big enough to scale well inside of this Mortal Kombat stuff. And then if you buy the Street Fighter and stuff like that, I don't know. I never stopped to think about it. I never actually take the Taki off the shelf and put her next to the McFarlane stuff, because there's no real reason for me to do so. So I never really tested that scale. That's where I am. That's my entire thought process on the new Mortal Kombat. Am I getting it? Right now, no. And I don't know if that's going to bite me later. If these are going to be very hard to find, and I'm going to be mad that I passed them by when I could have got some real cool Mortal Kombat stuff, because I don't have any Mortal Kombat stuff. Would it be cool to have a bunch of Mortal Kombat stuff? Of course it would. But I don't know where I sit with that. Omega Red has one. So, that's where I am. I will debate it. Probably on the Melina Sub-Zero pack. When that is released, I might put my money in to get that. because I can reuse the background and I can play around with certain aspects of it if I want for other figures. At that point, I will make a decision as to how I see it. Is it worth putting in for the entirety of the line? I'll make a decision. So I'm probably going to wait for that pack. And when that pack comes out, if I have the money, I will buy that. And then I will gauge those against the rest of everything, figure out where they scale, and then make a decision as to whether or not I want Mortal Kombat figures. But that's where I stand. That's the entirety of all my thoughts. And it looks like there was a lot of talking that went down because of that. We have this that we're going to be opening. So, let's see. Is it bad that the only Super 7 I would buy is the Shredder from the TMNT 2003 animated series because I don't think I'd personally buy anything else besides that? No. Art is subjective. Toys, I would argue, are an art. Let's see. Bill, will you be getting the Spirit Spider? No. No, the Ghost Rider Spider-Man? No, never really cared for it. It's a Spider-Man I'm passing. It's one of the Spider-Men that I have no desire to own. Now, if that was what you meant, if there was a new Ghost Spider, a Spider-Gwen, that would interest me because she needs an update like crazy. McFarlane lost the DC license and his grip on reality went with it apparently. Now we're in a world of $30 Mortal Kombat figures with one accessory and $70 2-packs and $60 video game figures. Man is crazy. I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff going on right now that makes it hard to determine exactly where we're sitting with stuff like that. Like, prices are going up even without all the tariff talk. So I don't know where I sit with that. Like, most of his stuff is still sitting at $27.99 though, which makes it $28 figures, which then makes us have to say, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you may very well have a point there, man. You may very well have a point that, like, all of a sudden, all of his prices are jumping. And I don't think we could argue license this time. You imagine the DC license would be a little more than a Mortal Kombat license, right? Right? Or can Mortal Kombat, can they demand a little more from their license? Because Mortal Kombat currently is kind of doing very well. It's got a couple of games under its belt that have done systematically well from game to game, which makes it not a failing product. Where DC, you could argue, is not as popular as it was even 10 years ago. I'm not saying it's bad by any means, but I mean, if we're being perfectly honest about the demand of a thing, DC will never go out. We know that. They have powerhouses that survive. That you just can't, you're not going to beat them. They're mythology at this point. Those figures will always sell. Those movies will always sell, even if they're bad. But I don't know. Like, that, it is weird. $30, like, I get it. We're really starting to get real tight with the money and everything, and it's really making some of these decisions tough. Let's see. I kind of want that one only because I'm a big Spider-Man and Ghost Rider fan personally. I know some don't like how he looks, but I think he looks cool. Him too. Take on this. As in, I want the one to... as in, I want that one to think to I... It's probably me, to be fair. It's the end of my day. As in, I want that one too. I think design is really cool, but I want to see the figure in person to see if it's worth buying. And I get that too. Yeah, absolutely. NECA 2-packs don't even cost $70. No, they don't. Not right now. I think I just saw the Turtle Pack in Walmart, and it wasn't costing that. I voted for the Omega Red versus War Machine. I think for what he shares with the old one, he has some new elements that I like a lot over the 5-pack Omega Red by a lot. This will be the first Omega Red I've ever owned. No. Wrong. I'm wrong. My mind just said, no, that's wrong, Bill. Because I'm thinking too modern. For that, I am wrong. I did own an Omega Red. Not like this. We'll talk about it. 2-pack Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero and Mileena is cool. The accessories are really cool for Sub-Zero, but the price is crazy. Do you know what that price is? I'm legit curious because that would be my jump-in point. Dude, compare the contents of the $30 Scorpion to the contents of a $25 Jada Bison or a $28 Storm Arena. Jada did it better. Packaging, yeah, absolutely. Why does Sub-Zero not have any ice stuff? See, yeah, people are asking the same questions I was kind of asking here and there. Also, these are not exactly classic, Todd, because these designs are more or less based on their appearance from Mortal Kombat 9. And I had that feeling as well. I wasn't going to call it out, to be fair. I think it's my best guess. My best guess is that classic refers to their most classic looks. I would argue, if I'm going to make this argument, I would argue he did that. I would argue that Scorpion and that Sub-Zero, to me, that's their most classic look. It's just modern enough, but it's just Sega Genesis enough that it's everything I want it to be. That's perfect to me. I like that they have the stitching and whatnot, the diamonds and everything, and I like that they got the knee pads and everything, just like the old, they kind of remind me of Mortal Kombat 2, but like updated into like a modern, that's perfect for me. And I would argue the best look that Liu Kang ever had was Mortal Kombat 2 with the red and black pants. And then if we kind of scale that up and we bring it to modern era, so I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to say that if he's looking for classic looks, he nailed it. Personally. I'm going to let this one slide. I'm going to let it slide. I think he did it. It just depends on how you're looking at it. If you feel like classics is supposed to be we start at the beginning, he missed it completely. But that's just where my train of thought goes. McFarlane entire keep things affordable so kids can collect model becomes a joke when we're asking these kind of prices for pinned figures of an M-rated franchise. I would argue with you, but your opinion holds validity. Boys won't buy girl figures at $20, but men will buy katana for $30. But just to put it out there, that's true. I, as a man, as a full-ass man, I will buy that katana and that Mileena for $30. I probably would. I probably would if he's decent enough. Sad. He doesn't really look sad to me. I don't think that's a determined face. We have a very different idea on that one. That is not, no. He lost his bicycle. He's sad because he has to watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation all over again. Looks like he's focused and about to go. I do not see that. Oh, me and you have a very different way of looking at that Mortal Kombat figure. No way. 15 days left on the snake layer, and it hasn't made the first tier. Not good. All it did was get funded, right? It did get funded, but it is, you're right, it's not even on the first tier, which means that if it doesn't reach this tier list, if it doesn't reach, the people that jumped in before 2 days from now will get Lady Slither, and they'll get the playset for $300 plus shipping and handling. I think it's like 352 or some crap like that. Ouch. $350. People are complaining right now about the Newcastle Grayskull that they jacked up to $125. $350 for the snake layer, which is a clamshell design made to be about the same idea as the snake Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull. $350. Ouch. One figure, that playset. If they don't hit the tiers, you don't get anything else. Is that worth it? I didn't back it. I was very serious when I did that episode, when I was talking about it, and I was saying there are definitely some things here that bother me, and I would have actually put in money for the old one. But right now, you're catching me at a bad time where my money is very tight. I got a kid that's just starting school. I just had all these problems with my car. I just got myself back on my feet. I'm just now paying for like a new $12,000 house problem. Like, $350 is not something you could pull out of me for that snake layer. It's, I will be snake layerless. And I don't think that it bothers me. I really don't. I don't think it bothers me. Todd did a couple of figures for the Mortal Kombat 11 line, but the Spawn figure is what most people went nuts over, and then suddenly he never made any other character from that line ever again. I wanted to buy that Spawn for Seth, actually. Honestly, I really still want an actual Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat game. But that's never going to happen. Mortal Kombat is banned in Japan. Really, that's interesting. 7-inch is basically just NECA and McFarlane, and those don't even work next to each other. That's what I figured, to be fair. At least it scales with NECA, and they have Predator. And the Predator is in Mortal Kombat, so there we go. But for real, they're a pass for me. Well, okay, shelf life. Look, I get it. 100%. I get it. I'm right. Yeah. That is a problem, because they could be a standalone on your shelf, and for sometimes that's not what you want. Sometimes you want all these things to mix together, which is why people really, like, they get into a scale, like they pick the 1/12 and they sit there, and that's what they want. Yeah, I get it. Personally, I don't mind 7 to 9 inches, but only for bigger, larger characters like Juggernaut, for example, or the Mortal Kombat Goro. Dang, how big is Goro going to be? You just threw that one out there. OG Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat won't work. They're even bigger. They have exaggerated proportions. Okay, well, that answered that. Absolutely. The monster characters would be perfect, though. Kintaro, Goro, etc. I don't think it's all Todd. It's a combination of what's going on in the world and such. Tariffs, the cost of plastic going up, so on, etc. Yeah, and I agree. I think there's a lot of underlying stuff that's forcing prices from everyone right now. Heck, I just bought school supplies, and most of the stuff that I'm used to buying, like paper, pencils, things of that nature, ended up costing me more than what I normally get throughout the course of the year. Because normally I buy that kind of stuff consistently because I use a lot of notebooks in my editing and stuff like that. And it did cost me more to get the pins and stuff like that than it normally costs me. $80 for the 2-pack. Ugh. Ugh. 80. That's rough. That's rough. Sorry for that rant, McFarlane rant. I just really thought the whole point of his company was $20 basic figures. It explained the pins and the lack of accessories. Yeah, but he couldn't have held that forever. Like, if we're being perfectly honest, that was a pipe dream. Everything is going up. Everything. There's no way he could have held a $20 line. It was never going to happen. Not without serious downgrades to the quality of the figures overall. Gotta fix this. I had to set the camera. There, that's set now. Honestly, I started with Mortal Kombat. I started on Mortal Kombat with X, so I'm more partial to the every guy who used to be it a recolor looks unique thing. I did play the OGs though. Liu Kang's face sculpt looks like he's trying to remember when the last time he I like the reptile-looking reptile over being a green scorpion. See, we're different on that one. I like my reptile to just be the green ninja. I don't need him to be a monster thing. What I meant was 15 days, and it has not even funded. No, I thought it did funded. I saw something online today where people were saying that it funded. Did it not fund? Does it have to hit the 6,000 first before it even funds basic? Like the base initial fund to even have it made. Oh, I didn't realize that. Because last time I seen it was at 3,000 something, and I thought that maybe it had funded and they needed 6,000 to hit the first tier. Like I said, I didn't back this one, so I haven't kept my eye on that. Mortal Kombat nowadays basically breaks the rating scale in Japan for age ratings. It is so much gore that Japanese age rating boards just straight up ban it. Oh, that Spawn from Mortal Kombat 11 goes for a little high on the aftermarket because the Spawn toy line had been iced for a while. It was the first updated modern Spawn. Okay. That's right. You love those basic channel analytics. Well, let's do this, okay? Let's get the first one out of here. Let's do this. I got high hopes for this one. Woo, I almost dropped it. But here we go. Here's War Machine and Omega Red. They're going to take us for a ride. Guys, I'm loving this Gamerverse. I'm loving it. I'm loving everything I see from it, except for 3 packs that I can't get my hands on. Those I'm not in love with. But most everything else about the Gamerverse, even the stuff I'm not buying, looks promising. Even the Spider-Man stuff that I did not buy still looked good for what it was meant to be. I didn't want it, but I wanted this. I'm not kidding when I tell you guys that Marvel vs. Capcom was like a big deal to me. Like, I really did that. That's not a joke. I built my own makeshift arcade cabinet for just that game in my basement. Like, we used to play this game like crazy. Absolutely loved that game. And this is kind of a big deal. First off, I have an Iron Man. We've talked about him. I only have one. Technically, I have two. If he ever gets voted on, he has never won a vote, so he has never been opened. We will talk about him someday if he ever gets a vote. Which brings a question. I wanted a War Machine, because I don't have one, and I like War Machine. If they do a Gamerverse style Iron Man, would I want it? That's the Iron Man I grew up with. It's the one that I know the most. Would I end up with it? That's a fair question, and it's probably yes. Because I have no idea who they're going to put with him, but whoever they put with him, I'm probably going to go, oh crap, I want that. They've got me on that one. They've got me. They've got a way to get me, okay? I will admit, fool, that if they keep this line going for the Marvel vs. Capcom stuff, and they release an Iron Man, whomever he comes with will probably be something that I go, ah, crap, I want it. Would he become my choice Iron Man on the shelf? If this guy is any indication, yes. I like this War Machine a lot. To me, this is War Machine. This is what I want him to be. I want him to look like an older, bulkier version of Iron Man, like a hand-me-down armor from like a generation or two past that then he modifies with weapons to his style. That's War Machine to me. It works. I love it. The other guy that came with it is Omega Red. I have owned Omega Red one time. Many years ago. Back when action figures did not have elbows. Back when you got your action figure and like they would have knees. Some of them had elbows. But then some figures were very much like they had like a pose. And the Omega Red that I had, I remember he had like one hand that was kind of like this or whatever, and then another one that was like this. And he was just like always in this pose, and like this is what he could do. And he had like these tentacle things that kind of came out. And that was him. Like he was always stuck in this super 90s exaggerated pose. And then he had like his legs or whatever. And they were kind of stuck in like a pose too. I remember he was like one of those 5 points of articulation figures. I don't remember what line he was from. I just remember that I had one. And I remember that he would always, of course, fight my Wolverine, because I remember that episode when I was a kid. It like stood out to me. Like that episode where Wolverine fights Omega Red. I have no idea why, but like that episode stood out in my mind for years. Like I was always thinking about how like Wolverine almost lost, and like it was one of those rare episodes where like he was like wearing bandages and stuff because he was beat up, which was not a normal thing that we got in the old animations. Oftentimes you would not see like a bloody hero or something like that. You would not see a damaged hero. They really wouldn't let that play out. It was the good guys won the fight. And even like in things like Spider-Man, where Spider-Man was very obviously like damaged, where like you could tell he had to have broken ribs or like messed up arms or screwed up legs or something like that. He would still just look like Spider-Man, and he would just be like, "Oh, I'm hurting. Oh my God," and that's it. Like we never actually got to see the damage, but that episode I remember stuck with me because we did get to see that Wolverine was hurt, and it was like visible. It's just like a weird memory. It sticks in my head. So, let's open these. Okay, so let's start with Omega Red, because this guy, I've been wanting one of these for like a long time. First off, you know, the plastic, now this is going to sound weird, but the plastic feels like a little more malleable, like a little easier. I actually like that. I like the plastic feels easier to manipulate. I know that's a minor thing, and probably for some people that's not a good thing, but I actually really like that. Otherwise, his solid figure. That's a really good face. I think it works very well. It's very like intimidating. It's very crazy. These are something I was wondering about. Back when they very first announced these, I was wondering how much give they would have and what we could actually do with them. And there's not a lot. They're kind of stuck as to what they are. These are what they are. They're small, and then they're the large ones, and this is what they do. You're not going to get, they're not bendy wire. They're not something we can put into like a thing and kind of make them stay or something like that. You can wrap this around somebody's waist or something like that. Yeah, you can make it work. It's very give. It has a lot of give in it, but it is also just what it is. Like, it doesn't seem like it's very complicated. Oh no. Looks like you just push that in there. And yeah, that's it. Simple. Very simple. But did I want it to be anything complicated? No. No, I feel like they're a little tough to get in because, like, you have to be able to kind of grip them and push them in, and there's so much give in these cords, which I guess you want, but there's so much give that it can be a little tough to get your fingers to, like, really push them in there and get them to stay. But there he is, Omega Red. I didn't have one of these, and I've wanted one for a very long time. I'm happy with this. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't know how I'm going to feel as I get into it and I start to use him and he fights my Wolverine and things like that. But, I mean, I love that all of these are starting to come with, like, you know, look at that. The butterfly joints and stuff like that. Like, guys, at this point, we should just expect it. We should expect that as the line moves forward, it gets better and better and better, and it shouldn't be moving backwards. That's the reason I'm really starting to call out the female Bucks. That being said, as I just said, the line should move forward and not backwards. These are old legs. Or at least they must be, because those are pins. My guess is they reused the legs from the old one, maybe? Since I never had one of these at all, it doesn't really bother me that it's a reuse, because even with it being a reuse, how do I put this? I didn't have one to feel like it was recycled. That's what I'm going to say. Every one of us gets figure at a different time. And if we happen to get one that we like, and we get it 2, 3, 4 versions down the road, that becomes the best one of them that we have for us. So there was no expectation for Omega Red. And to be fair, there also wasn't one for War Machine. War Machine, right here, as far as I could tell, is a solid figure. I don't have anything to say bad about him. I don't have anything to say that's like, you know, unbridled praise. But, like, he's fine. I mean, he's got the ab crunch and everything like that. His legs and everything feel solid. He's got decent enough movement in his head. He looks good all the way around. I kind of like this. He has this gun, which is pretty cool. We just pop it on there. There's that. He has an effect. which is pretty cool. I like that a lot, actually. I like that effect a lot. He has a missile, which they didn't come with a stand. So, like, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they didn't. They didn't come with a stand. There's nothing in there. I didn't miss anything. So, with no stand, but the missile has, like, a hole. I mean, there. But, like, that's the stand from Maximum Spider-Man. So, that seems like a misstep. If you're going to give us an effect, look, Jada is slowly but surely changing the game here. And if you're going to give us a missile that needs to be launched, that then has this hole that needs to be on a stand, and then you don't give us a stand, that's a hit against. I have plenty of stands because of the Jada stuff that I've picked up, so it's not going to affect me, but everybody gets a first figure, whether it be their first Wolverine, their first Captain America. Everybody starts this game somewhere. And if you're jumping in and you're getting like web effects or like this missile or something like that, you want it to work. And you don't want to buy extra parts for what you just bought. That's what I'm trying to say. So, like, here you have this figure, and even if, not even, yes, adult collector as well, absolutely, but even as a kid, you want there to be everything that you need in your pack that you buy. Now, we very blatantly know that these are being sold to adult collectors. There's no argument here. Even though kids can and probably would love these, I'm not saying anything about that, but I'm saying that your primary market that you are selling to is adult collectors. We know that with Marvel Legends by now. We know that. And as such, this guy is complete. This guy isn't. Because we have an effect which is really cool. And then we have a missile. And the missile doesn't go in there. And it doesn't connect to nothing. And it has that hole. And that makes you go, oh, okay, so I need the stand. There is no stand. So it is missing something. It doesn't affect me, but it's something we need to say, because we do need to kind of call things out as we see them. And like I said, at this point, Jada has changed the game. Jada has made it so that we are expecting you buy a figure, you get a Chun-Li triple kick effect, you get a stand. You get a Hadoken, you get a stand. You get a Tiger, you get a stand. You get a stand. Every effect that is meant to be an effect that is meant to go away from the character gets a stand. The characters don't. We can kind of call Jada out on that one a little bit, because we got Fei Long and he has that sweet kick, but he doesn't come with a stand to do the sweet kick, right? I don't remember him getting a stand. The last couple times I've used him, I've put him on a stand, but I don't remember it being one he came with. So maybe we could say this is true for other figure companies in general, but because Jada has a good track record right now of effects that are meant to show, that they're meant to like fly across the screen or whatever, they come with the ability to do that. I just have a missile. I just have a missile. And then of course I have these hands, which do have holes for effects, like the laser blasts, the pew pew. But he doesn't come with laser blasts. I'm not saying they should have been completely tricked out here. I'm not saying, and I guess I get it. I don't want to pay a ridiculous amount of money, and we are dealing with everything up top being pinless and down here at the lower legs being pins. But I'm pretty sure this is an update to a figure that I've seen multiple times, because I've seen him at a thrift store that I go to very often, and I've been passing on him for a long time. I've been like, oh, I need a War Machine. But I know they're coming out with one, and I've just kind of walked away and not got him. And I think, looking this guy over, this guy looks like he was worth the wait. He looks like he's better than what I would have gotten had I bought him from the thrift store. So, I think that's fine. But it does feel strangely unfinished if you're going to give me the hands that require the blast effects, which I know you have, and then not give me the blast effects, and then you're going to give me a missile in place of those blast effects that requires a stand that then doesn't get a stand. He feels unfinished. Weirdly so. But they're decent figures. Like, they're really good figures. I still would count this as a win for the Gamerverse line. Just not as strong as the Psylocke win, because the Psylocke win was so much win. Let's go back to the chat. Oh, okay. People are not discussing things right now. That's fine, though. So let's get the next line set up. And let's move this out of my way when I do it this time so I can actually type. So we have that's solid. Then yeah, let's just run that. Bam. We can now move this back to the center and let this play out again. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get that either. They did the same thing with the deluxe proton cannon Iron Man. They didn't even give him blast effects either. Wow, everyone was so focused on toy. What do you think we will get? Do you think we'll get an Omega Red in the MCU? I mean, depending on how hard they dive into X-Men, and I'm really hoping they don't mess around. I'm really hoping they really dive into X-Men. You're gonna have to give it a while. He's not like a standout in the front character. I still know people that have no idea who he is. I know a guy at work that he talks comic books with me, like all the shows and whatnot that he grew up with. And when I mentioned that I was picking up an Omega Red, he was like, who? So, I mean, it's not like he's an absolute standout 100% A-list villain or whatever. So it could really be a while before we see one. And they have to have a storyline that's worth bringing him in without just, like, wasting him. I'm going to do dinner, though. Be back in a bit. Oh, yeah, I saw Superman, yeah. I legit thought Omega Red was an original character from the games. Oh, no. I know Omega Red from the cartoons. Same here. That's where I was first introduced, and then I started seeing him in comic books and stuff like that. Marvel Rivals has their own original superhero, Luna Snow. I don't really know anything about that. I haven't touched Marvel Rivals yet. I need to remove, now that I'm thinking about it, because we just did this, I need that off my checklist. There, that's fixed. Oh, DC Multiverse is currently pulling ahead. Omega Red is very interesting because of his death spores and his complicated history with Wolverine. Did I like Superman? I loved Superman. I loved it. Absolutely. Found it fantastic. Personally, I feel like it put us right back on track where we're supposed to be. Like, guys, I do not dislike Henry Cavill. I've said this multiple times in the Superman reviews. If you want to hear my thoughts on Superman, there's a couple of things. There's a there's a Superman video on this channel where I talk about Dark Superman, thoughts on Dark Superman. There's another one on this channel called Can't You Tell, where it talks about the Superman and his secret identity and why it works. And then there's a third video, which is a costume review on Fandom Night, where I get to talk about a lot of Superman stuff. And I talk about why Superman is so important and why you cannot do a dark, broody, serious Superman. I think Henry Cavill wanted to be the Superman, and I think he had the ability to do so. And I think his movie did him no favors. That's how I feel. I think Henry Cavill was hurt by the script and the movie he was in, and he never got a real chance to be Superman. He was just like a fan fiction version of Superman. That's how he always felt to me. He never felt right, ever. Not a single movie. Not once. I saw moments in those movies where I said, "Oh, that's good. I like that," and then it would go on being what it is, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I have a complicated thing with that because I know he could do it. He was never given the chance to do it, personally. In fact, if you want to know the Superman that I think got robbed, it was Brandon Routh. He got robbed. He got a chance to make up for it because he came back in a series and got to play Superman again. But he got robbed. I think he could have been a terrific Superman, an unbelievably terrific Superman. But he just did not. He just didn't get the chance. I think that's really what happened to him. I honestly believe so. Because he had it. He had the look. He had the attitude. He had the grace. I really, really believe he could have been one of the best Superman we ever got. He got one movie. It was not perfect. I get it. And then they just gave up. I think he got robbed. DC Multiverse has one. So, move, Mike. Okay, let's do either bam. That's what we've got sitting left in the DC. And we do have some DC on the way, but they are not here, so of course we cannot vote on them. Nicolas Cage got robbed. Like I said, I've learned over the years to try to put my feelings aside when it comes to casting. But I never wanted to see Nicolas Cage be Superman. I've never been stuck in that where I go, oh man, that would have been so amazing to see or whatever. I got nothing for it. Like, there's never been a moment at any time in my life where I've looked at all that stuff and gone, oh, we got robbed. I'm perfectly fine in my life not having Nicolas Cage Superman. 100%. Doesn't bother me at all. This new Superman just got beat up the whole movie. That I didn't care for. And why did James Gunn have to make every male character in this movie cry? Okay, so first off, men can cry. Okay? So I'm not 100% sure where that's coming from. They can. Second, a Superman in the comic books gets beat up all the time. Because you're looking at a universe where Green Lanterns exist. You're looking at a universe where magic is regular. You're looking at a universe where other Kryptonians show up. You're looking at a universe with Doomsday. You're looking at a universe with things like Amazons, like Wonder Woman. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in DC that can smack Superman around. Just like there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that cannot. So Superman, in the context of this movie, even when he is getting beat up, it's a disadvantage due to a situation. He's trying to save a baby, and he's got a bunch of guys on him. That makes it hard to save a baby, because he doesn't want the baby to get wounded. He's doing everything in his power to fight against the situation and save a baby. You got a Superman where it's all situational. Like, he's affected by kryptonite. Yes, you have Molecule Man. That puts him at a disadvantage. You have a very realistic landscape in terms of the world and how they might view Superman, and how him putting himself in situations that may be none of his political satire and business, that can cause problems as well. So, like, and also, things like his dad crying and whatnot. I don't know your age, but like, if I was sitting at home and all of a sudden somebody came in with my kid, and my kid was sick to where their like veins were popping out and they looked like they were dying, and then I had to walk my kid into my home, my kid that's always been strong and always been healthy, and I lay them down on the bed and he's unresponsive, I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. I'm man enough to admit that I'm not super strong like that. Okay, I'm not going to be okay with that. That would destroy me. To have to see my kid like that. That's terrifying. And then the only line of communication I have is to a person who just tells me, Mr. Terrific says that he's going to be okay. I have to take you on your word. Man, I hope so. Like, I'm just saying. Like, I think this idea that he got, like, beat up is overblown. And I think this idea that, like, people have feelings is overblown. Like, people have feelings. They do. I don't think that's a flaw necessarily. Like, there was very little to nothing that I didn't like about this Superman movie. And when it came right down to it, he was also fighting so we're going to call spoilers real quick. He was also fighting another Kryptonian who was younger and stronger than he was. He's going to get beat up. He would get beat up if he had to fight a Daxamite that was younger and stronger than he is. So, like, he's gonna get beat up. And do you really want him to just steamroll the entire DC universe? Like, people often say that their problem with Superman, and bad writers say this, is that he's hard to challenge because he's completely unbeatable. Do you want to see a movie where nothing can challenge him? Like, nothing? You just want him to steamroll the entire DC universe and be the strongest thing that ever existed ever in the history of ever? I mean, maybe that could be fun, but that's also very boring because, like, what are we here for? We're here to see heroes deal with adversity and move us forward and give us hope and show us what can be and move past their own limits and deal with their own existential crises and things like that. And then we will learn from that. I mean, superheroes are modern day mythologies. So, like, they're meant to tell grandeur stories. So I don't know. Like, I've heard this argument a lot that Superman was, like, weak in this movie. He just fought things that were on his level. But anytime he came up against anything that was not on his level, he put it down fast. Like, real fast. Like to the point where it was an absolute joke fast. And he cared. And that is so Superman. I loved that Superman movie. And I cannot wait to buy it. I've already seen it in the theater 3 times. And I can't wait to own it. I loved it. Brandon was great in Crisis. Yes, he absolutely was. The funny thing is, had not Warner rushed to get out Batman vs. Superman, we could have had Man of Steel 2. We could have had the Brainiac on the big screen, which would have been real cool, by the way. I would have been very interested to see how they would have played that out. But now that we have Supergirl building, Supergirl is more intertwined with Brainiac, and it'll be interesting to see how they play that out on a bigger scale, where Supergirl starts the situation and then we all kind of come forward to deal with him. I'm very much looking forward to that. To me, in my opinion, it was the weakest and softest Superman I've ever seen. And I don't know your age, okay? So I'm going to say that. I don't know your age. But I've noticed in the last couple years, they've tried to make Superman hard. Like, in most show, on live action, movies and whatnot, they've been going out of their way to make Superman kind of a little darker and hard. They want him to be like a badass. He's not meant to be that. When Superman stands next to Batman, they should not be the same attitude. Ever. And I get it. Superheroes change over the years. They do go through changes. That's inevitable. But Superman is for everyone. He is the utmost symbol of hope and the utmost symbol of what we want to be. And he can very much show us what we're not currently. I don't know. I loved him. I think that this is the Superman I have personally been waiting for a while now. I have not liked a Superman project since Brandon Rolfe. Well, aside from the shows. And Superman won. I'm not Team Snyder. I'm not Team Gunn. I'm Team Superman. Definitely not a Snyder fan either. Superman gets knocked down, but he gets up again. Ain't nothing gonna break it. Dang it. Empathy is punk rock is what Superman's message was. We live in a time where certain people think empathy makes you not a man for some reason. And it does feel like that. It feels like if you side with... I get it. Very much so. We very much live... It feels like that sometimes. I don't have feelings, and I'm mad you told me I did. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was wrong. Not everybody has feelings. You are exempt from my statement. I apologize. Hey, what's going on, man? Understandable, but why did he get beat up? The engineer chick. He did, but you see, that's just it. I think people were expecting a little too much. Superman doesn't want to hurt somebody. He didn't want to hurt her. If Superman had went off half-cocked, he could have taken his eyeballs, blasted a ray at her, and annihilated. He could have wiped her from the planet instantly. He doesn't want to hurt people, even the bad guys. Oftentimes, the damage that Superman takes and the losses and the hits that he takes is because he doesn't want to just hurt somebody. He doesn't want that. So when she's coming at him, it is not until she threatens his very life, like getting in his lungs, that he finally says, she's got to go. She's got to go. And that's when he did that trick where he flew up in the air and came down literally like a meteorite. Until then, he's just fighting. And he's also dealing with Ultraman while he's fighting her. So, yeah, she's getting hits on him, but none of her hits really mattered. I mean, if you really stop and watch that movie, she's not a danger to him. She stands no chance at all, except for that tiny little trick where they took his lungs away from him and then started burying him in the nanites. That was the only moment that even came close to being a problem for him. And even still, he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. She's got to go. This Superman is not weak. I would argue some of his feats of strength that we witnessed in this movie put him on par with every Superman we have ever seen on screen, if not easily trouncing some of them. Superman the Animated Series and Justice League is my favorite because it has a good balance. I thought the new Superman was neat. I'm a Christopher Reeve fan. Superman 1 and 2 are the best. And Reeve that's my go-to. If you have to ask me who is Superman, it's Reeve. It's Reeve. It's hands down. It's not a question. He is the best representation of Superman that I have ever seen in my entire life, ever. And yet, I would tell you that combat-wise, I realize that those movies are things of their time. He was only really threatened in one movie. The worst one. In Superman 4, he fights an enemy that can actually beat him. He didn't even get a scratch on his face fighting 3 Kryptonians. It's kind of, I mean, I get it, but probably the best fight in the city was the one that we didn't even see in the sewers. I'm just saying, it was a thing of its time, but the most serious fight he had in all 4 movies was Superman 4. Or maybe 3, depending on what your idea of that whole scene and interpretation was. But in 1, he's completely unstoppable and completely invulnerable, and there's nothing that can mess with him, and they try to outsmart him. And even then, it's not necessarily believable because they put a chain around his neck, and he can't just take the chain off. I get that he's sick. He's Superman, there's kryptonite, he's not feeling too good. But he's underwater, and he's lifting up the chain, and he just can't figure it out. I'm a guy, just a guy, and you'd have put that thing around my neck and threw me in the water, and if nothing else, I could have just leaned my head down and then swam away from it. Obviously he could swim. He's swimming. He's not drowning immediately. I'm just saying, he's able to tread water for a good deal of time. He has the strength. He just won't take it off. In the new movie, There is a guy who is literally able to make himself out of kryptonite, and he's sitting in a tiny box with Superman. And he can't take that guy out, and he can't remove that guy, and he can't step away from that guy. And every time he tries to talk to that guy just throws the kryptonite into his face. So, like, that's more believable to me than Lex put a necklace on him and he can't take the necklace off. That's goofy. I love that movie, but that's goofy. The logic of it is completely broken and ridiculous. And then in the second movie, he fights 3 Kryptonians, which he's on par with, or relatively, you could argue, stronger than them, because they can't even put a mark on him. And then he takes him to the fortress, where he does a bunch of powers that, like, don't even make sense for Superman. Like, he, like, duplicates himself with, like, I'm guessing projectors. I'm guessing it's like something that he gets in that universe, a security system or something. And he throws a cellophane S, and it just, like, really inconveniences Non for a second. I mean, but it's not really a big deal. It's just kind of weird. And I get it. He is my Superman. But I mean, for people to go this hard on the new movie and not call out the ridiculousness of the original movies, it just feels... It feels funny to me, is what I'm saying. I gotta fix this. There. People got too used to the way Man of Steel's Superman fights went. They got used to the Dragon Ball Z style battles, not realizing that it's not all about brawls and how crazy we can get. Fingernails of Doom! He just goes, and then he's like, scratches his name. It's so bad. It's so bad. But the fight on the moon... Look, guys, for its time, the fight on the moon is pretty legit, man. Metamorpho? Yes, absolutely. It's a product of its time, the 70s, Bill. They were going to get jiggy with the powers. My favorite Superman is from the Justice League cartoon. But in terms of live action, yeah, it's Reeves. I like Superman Justice League cartoon after season 1. I'm just going to say, you want to see a weak Superman? You want to see a weak Superman? Watch season 1 Justice League. All he does is get rocked over and over and over and over and over by stuff that should not be a problem for him. like absolutely should not be a problem with him. They made him the weakest guy on the team in a lot of early episodes in season 1. Like, it's unbelievable how often he's just getting flattened by stuff that shouldn't even be able to touch him. Like, but I love that Justice League cartoon. I really do. I absolutely love it. Let's do it. Let's knock another one out. Kingdom Come, Superman, DC Direct, yes. This is kind of a continuation of my favorite costume. We've talked about it before. The 40s costume, it is my favorite costume. The S, the black background, the Flesher costume. When I think of Superman and all the looks he's ever had, for some reason my mind goes back to that and always says that's his best costume. In fact, one of my all-time favorite moments ever seeing a live-action Superman is seeing, was it the, it's the one of the most recent series. He flies in and he's wearing that costume. I'm trying to remember if it was like Lois and Superman, Superman and Lois, Superman and Lois. It is Superman and Lois. That series, when they showcased that costume, oh man, I was like, oh, no way. my favorite costume just got a live action, I'm sold. This is so cool. The idea that we got a Kingdom Come Superman is just unreal. They're saying it's the Justice Society of America Superman from this specific issue. If we're to understand how DC Direct page punchers type of thing works, they give us a comic book with it, and that comic book is supposed to represent the thing that we just got, kind of, for what it's worth. Sure, this is Kingdom Come. That's what this is. That's what it is. And it looks like it's fantastic. I like an old man Superman, for what it's worth. I just do. Like, I like the idea that he ages and that he's still very much what he is, but I kind of liked that he was like coming back to a world that had moved on, that didn't need or want his brand of justice anymore. And it has somewhat gotten out of hand. And he comes back and kind of starts to become this pillar again. And I absolutely loved it. Like, that comic book is a little more complicated than that. I'm being very basic with the way that I describe it. If you read it, you'll see. But, like, I love this old man Superman idea. And I always have. I can see that there's probably going to be a couple minor issues that I'll have with this. But what I want this for isn't necessarily this deep attachment to Kingdom Come Superman. It's that this is one of the coolest Supermans that we have ever seen. This is Alex Ross. That right there gets my attention right off the bat. And it's basically a continuation older man of the 1940s Superman that I already put on the shelf. All of those things together make me want him. So, let's open up this terrible clamshell. I hate this packaging. And check him out. Okay, I got him. It was a bit of a struggle. I really do not like those clamshells. I think they're a pain to open, and I just don't like them, okay? Here he is. This is an older man Superman right here. He's good. He's got that like hard exterior about him. He kind of looks like an older guy. Can I get the camera to focus on him? Can I do it? Can we do it? Can we create a focus? Create a focus on him. Look at him. There he is. I got it. He's good. I like the old man face. I like the older man body. I think it works very well. We are seeing a lot of reuse here, but come on, you know what this is. It's a McFarlane figure. We're not going to cry that much about it. I wish, if I'm going to say one thing about it, I wish we could have got more gray on the side. I don't think they really sold that enough. I think we needed a little more. I think we needed more gray on the sides here. I think that would have done him a lot of favors, if you want the truth about it. Also, the cape is really solid, but this Superman, if I'm remembering right, his cape hung down in the back. I am glad they didn't do that, because I do seem to remember that this one had a cape that hung down. Like it kind of was down here, and then you saw the blue. I'm glad they didn't do that, because I prefer this. But also, even though it probably wouldn't have been right for this figure, I love the actual emblem on the back of the cape. Now, I know the 1940s Superman didn't have that. That's something that I've just come to like. I like the S on the back of the cape as well, but I think this is fairly accurate. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just simply saying. Still, same old problem, though. The neck joints on the McFarlane figures, Superman can't really look up very well. That's about the best we're going to get. And I guess that's pretty good, to be fair. I don't know if I'm complaining about that. You know what? That's good. I could argue it would have been nice if he would have looked a little more up, but I could fix that if I wanted to, and that doesn't look bad, in all honesty. I think that's fine. The color separation is pretty solid, but we're not expecting too much from this Superman. Gold, the black, the red, it's all deep colors. I like the emblem up here. I think that works very well. He did come with 2 flight hands, if that's what you want to call them, depending on how you view your Superman. Does your Superman fly like kind of where he opens his hand, or does he put that fist out and will himself to fly through the air? I guess that's up to you, to be fair. We are looking at a McFarlane figure, so we're looking at pins and things of that nature, but we're also looking at the best possible Superman body that we can get. His cape is long, but not too long. It comes down exactly where I want it. It comes down a little bit past the boots. That's it. That's where I want my cape. That is the perfect Superman cape. It needs to come down the littlest bit past the boot, and I'm fine with it. That's 100%. That's fine. Otherwise, not too much really to say here. He's got plenty of movement in his arm and whatnot. They're not really butterfly joints. I wouldn't call them that, but he can get a pretty good decent in, and he can get a pretty good decent all the way back and whatnot. Is a solid Superman. I don't think anybody that buys this is going to be disappointed, realistically. There are small things we could complain about, sure. But it's also a $30 figure. Like, so how much are you willing to complain? And to give it to him, you got a comic book, which I honestly feel is a bit of a waste, because you got literally issue 10 of the Justice Society of America, and then I guess if you want to buy the omnibus after reading this one issue of Superman, if you wanted to do that, if you want to read this one issue of Justice Society and then get way into Superman or whatever, and then, like, you know, I mean, I guess you could do that. I'm just saying, this is where I saw a lot of my Power Girl stuff. Like, look, when Superman decides that he's walking out of the room, Power Girl is the one that puts him on his face. You're not going to convince me that any of these other characters were able to do it. When he decided to leave, she grabbed him by the back. She's the one that puts her arm around his neck, and she's the one that tackles him to the ground. You're not going to tell me Hawkman tackled Superman to the ground. You're not going to convince me of that. You're not going to convince me that old man Jay Garrick tackled him to the ground. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Power Girl is the only person there with the physical strength to stop him for even a second. Even a second. And like, this is good, but you don't get enough here to care or even really know too much about this. It's good they kind of go into his background. It's the Justice Society. They're sitting there talking to him. How'd you end up here? Where'd you come from? What's going on in your world and things like that. You get a comic book, okay? I still think it's a little... This is not going to make anybody a comic book fan. That's what I'm going to say. The people that saw a really cool Superman and wanted a cool Superman, they're not going to read that comic and all of a sudden decide, oh, this is what I've been missing my whole life. It's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to happen. I don't know how I feel about selling the comic books with the figures. See, if I want comic books, I'm going to either buy single issues or I'm going to get online or wherever I got to go and I'm going to buy some omnibus and some graphic novels and I'm going to have some comic books. If I want some figures, I'm going to buy some figures. There's never been an instance where I've wanted and or needed both at the same time. It just feels like an extra thing that adds money value that isn't really... I'm just not sold on it. I don't know how I feel about these figures that come with comic books, if I'm being perfectly honest. For the nostalgia of it, I don't mind it with, like, Motu Origins, because the mini-comics are what they are, and there's a history behind the mini-comics, and it's kind of cool to read that tiny, because it's not that much, it's not like a big read or anything like that, not that any comic book is, but I just, like, also when you read the mini-comic, you finish the tiny story, the little mini-story about the one thing that you just bought, and you kind of have an idea of what it is. This is issue 10 of the Justice Society of America from years ago. Are you going to go hunt down 9? Like 1 through 9? I think it's misleading. I don't understand 100%, or I'm not on board 100% with why these comics add any real value to the figures. I'm a little weird about that. I'm a little on the side about that. However, this Superman came with a flight stand. A flight stand. Because he, like, flies. Like, I don't know what's going on with McFarlane. We'll get flight stands, and then he'll give us another character that flies, and give us that stupid little circle stand that does nothing for anybody. If you gotta jack the price up the littlest bit to give us these things as a standard, give us these things as a standard. For characters that don't fly, I will take this off and I will use this. And for characters that do fly, or jump, or do a bunch of acrobats or something like that, I'd rather have these. These are cheap stands, but they get the job done. They really do work. I've even used these in a couple of photography pieces because for as cheap as they are, they're just decent little stands. Sell these. And if nothing else, we would appreciate landing them, because think about if you bought a bunch of these figures and they came with flight stands. These, even if you got to add $2 to the price of the figures that are already there. It's not like we're not already nickel and diming to death anyway. But I would argue that it would be worth it. The reason I would argue it is because, say you bought 20 of these and you got 20 of these. You could use them on the figures that made sense. And then you could move them over to your Marvel shelf. And Marvel Girl could fly. Or Spider-Man could jump. this will hold them. If it's holding these figures, it'll hold them. And all the other figures that make sense for something like this. Like if you want Evelyn to levitate off the ground or something like that. These would have massive versatility to the fact that I would argue, and I'm serious about this, if these were standard, when these guys went on sale, like, and you saw figures that like dropped down to like $10 or whatnot, I'll bet you people would buy them just to get these. You would never see these guys. I don't think you would ever see these guys peg warming. I don't think it would happen. I think it would be a thing of the past if these were standard. Because every time these things went on clearance or kind of started getting backed up or went on sale or whatever, like Big Bad was like, hey, can we get rid of these? We got like 100 of these Lex Luthors and nobody wants them. Do they come with a stand? Because I'll buy 10 of those stupid Lex Luthors and throw the Lex Luthors away just for these. I'll bet you that would happen. I'm serious. I think these would move a little bit of material. It's just weird to me that he will not, like, he's incredibly picky about when he gives those stands away. Thankfully, this legend got one. The wireframe is solid. Everything about this guy is exactly what you want it to be. I don't have anything else to say here, except for this is a fantastic Superman figure. Good job. Let's see. Dupe. Dupe. Dupe, dupe. Let's do this. Okay, let's do... Sure. Okay. Oh man, cheekbones. Justice League Superman sucks. They were oh, if Superman gets beat, then we need other members. Right. And they did that too much. They were very much selling the idea if Superman is having trouble, then this is a real threat. And so, like, every single episode, Superman was just getting reamed, man. He had no chance at all. He was getting taken out by, like, stray missiles, some machine guns, like a laser beam, like a bolt of lightning. It's like simple crap that, like, really should not be a problem for him. Okay, yeah, right there. Yeah, you said it too. Just noticed Herbie chilling in the background. Yes, I think I have made a decision. I got a box for that Herbie. I've already wrapped him. He's already ready to go. The only thing that I need to figure out, I think the way that the giveaway is going to work, and it's probably going to be in a week or so, I'm going to post a video talking about how that Herbie is going to be given away. And when I do that video, I will then post the picture of Herbie probably on Instagram, because that's probably where I spend a little more of my time. I don't do a whole lot of social media in all honesty, unless I have to. Like, I'm on Facebook, but I don't check in as often as I probably should, and there's not a huge group that's actually active in Fandom with ReploidBill on the group page, so like there's really no real reason for me to go there too often right now. I'm on Instagram. I talk to a bunch of guys from this toy network, and that's probably where I have most of my social media. And then I'm on X, but really I just like repost some stuff every now and then. I kind of have like a rule. I turn it on. I scroll down 20 posts. If something catches my attention, I comment or I do something. If nothing catches my attention, I turn it off. Like, I'm just not like, I'm not addicted or set to social media. It's not really something that I have or do. Probably because I've never been like social media popular is what I'll say. So like, since there's not a whole lot of people talking to me except for like a couple of people on like Toy Network, I don't really have much reason to be on social media. So I just don't. I just don't. But I think more than likely it's probably going to go up on the Instagram. There will probably be a picture of him, and I will basically say that if you're signed to the show or whatever, if you're subscribed to the show, let me know. Tell me something about the show that you like or even dislike. That's even fine too. I don't mind that at all. That's fine. You can dislike something about the show. There are things to dislike. I very much get it. And then just tell me something about the Fantastic Four or something like that. Whatever. I'll figure it out. There'll be some sort of minor gimmick to it. I'll select randomly. Then I'll do a personal message like I'll do with the Instagram like message, and I'll say, hey, I've selected you at random or whatever. Herbie's coming your way. Give me your mailing information, if it's a P.O. box or whatever it is, and then I'll send you Herbie. That's what I'm doing with that Herbie. That Herbie was exclusively bought to be given away. It will be the first time I've ever done something like this, and if it goes well, this could become minorly regular. So like I take a lot of figures off the shelf, and oftentimes I think about selling them, and then it kind of got me thinking it'd be neat if I kind of developed a system where as things come off the shelf, other people might want things for like customizing and things like that. Maybe I take a Superman off the shelf. I don't want that Superman anymore. Does that mean other people don't? Maybe somebody would love to get that Superman so they can test an idea, so they can try something, so maybe they just want that Superman and it's been really hard to get. And I can kind of give things away, and then I know that they're going to collectors that are actually going to use them or change them or do customs or whatever. And it might also be cool to get feedback when maybe if like I send something like, hey, I'm not doing anything with this figure, here you go. And then maybe if that person uses that body for a custom, maybe they send me like an image or whatever on Instagram and they're like, hey Bill, this is what I did with that. And then I can be like, oh, that's cool. Like, it just sounds like a cool community thing that I know that these figures would then be going to places that, like, they're not just looking to get, like, a figure to sell or something. Like, they would, that would be my hope anyway. But that's where my mind is kind of going with starting giveaway type of stuff. Okay, right now we are tied in Legends and Joe's. What do we got left on this? Okay. I guess I haven't jumped into the DC Multiverse line for reasons, but I guess I'm waiting for the right Superman, Batman, etc. We'll have to see what Mattel does with their line first. I get that. It took me a long time to jump into the McFarlane line. Like a long time. I think I even have early videos on this channel that specifically talk about how I don't like 80% of the McFarlane figures I see. And it took like one or two specific figures for me to go like, okay, I kind of like that. And then I got them. And I still don't have like, I wouldn't call myself an avid collector. Literally everything that I have bought from McFarlane fits on one shelf. Like, so like I wouldn't call myself any kind of avid collector. I just, once I did buy one, it was a little easier to buy more. George Reeves Superman. Yeah, that's where it hung down. But I think because George Reeves Superman was kind of one of the influences for the artwork for Alex, I'm pretty sure that like his cape, maybe not in this, but this is misleading too because he's not wearing a cape at all. So that's not fair. But whatever. I thought for sure I remembered it hanging down, but I could just be misremembering. That's very possible. I think it's mostly for the cover, the comic book. You mean? I don't know, Bill. I'd argue and say that comic books with old Toy Biz Marvel Legends was kind of an introduction for people like me. It's how I got introduced to Ghost Rider. Fair. Fair. Look, that's the thing. And I always want people to understand this. My show is about giving you opinions and talking about first impressions and discussing fandom at large. But I will never claim to be an expert, and I will never claim to have all the answers. 100%. And I can't argue with the idea that maybe for some people, getting a figure and getting a comic, maybe that can very well spark a lifelong interest. For me, it's all the things I said. It feels a little off. But I can't argue with the idea that you see a cool guy with a flaming skull, so you buy it. It happens to come with a book. You open that book. You go through it. You're like, this dude is awesome. What is this? Ghost Rider? Got the figure, got the book. I'm interested. And then you go from there and you kind of hunt down some ideas. I'm not saying that that's not 100% possible. I do get that. For me, it seems funny. Especially now that we're slowly but surely entering the streaming age of comics. And now, if you had any interest in, like, this Superman, you could just get on the DC app and, like, read it. So it feels like a thing of the time that's passed. I don't know. But I can't argue with the idea that but then again, Toy Biz was a while back. Like, comic books were still more of a thing. I don't know. It's just, let me be 100% before I say it, because, like I said, it's so rare that I even click on this thing that it's just ReploidBill. I thought so. Sometimes I'm under Fandom with ReploidBill when I do social media, and sometimes it's just ReploidBill. But yeah, my I've got to update this. Wow, it still says that I'm linked to fandomnight.com. Fandomnight.com doesn't even exist anymore. Shows how long it's been since I've clicked on my own personal thing or whatever. It's like 185 followers or whatever. But basically I use it to kind of post images here and there, talk about stuff, and I have a group called the Toy Network that I talk to regularly on there. I'm X mainly for Blu-ray 4K updates. I feel like we were discussing something and I lost it somehow, because I'm not sure what we're talking about right now. I like when they gave us comics with those 3.75 scale Marvel Legends figures, which was a while back, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you did. And you are back from dinner. Well, looks like Legends has won. It's not a bad thing. Let's check this then. Bam. Doop doop. All right. Let me check my list. Whoop. We have that's one of the figures that's sitting over here. Then I think we have... Oh, okay. Bam. Okay. Oh, I need to fix that. Doop. Doop. I need to replace... I think it might be this light, actually. I think I need to get this light mounted here. Because this light is more direct, and this one is too far back. And I think that's what's causing the camera to unfocus. Focus. No? Focus. Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's see. Oh! That's what we were talking about. I'm sorry. I'm on X mainly for Blu-ray 4K updates. X! When you said, when it said X, because like I said, I don't think about social media that way, so yeah, I didn't even stop to think about the fact that I was even the one that said, it's X. That name is so stupid, by the way. Why would you buy it and then change the name of the iconic thing that you bought, and then so future people that come around don't even know what it is? It's freaking stupid. I'm on X mainly for those updates. And I get that, yeah. And that's true, too. Sometimes I specifically use X to, like, watch things like Preternia and whatnot as they give out, like, toy links and stuff like that and see that I don't miss release dates and things. True, Toy Biz was nearing the era when comic books were slowly beginning their transition to digital. So I get where you're coming from. I remember the firestorm I saw online over the new Superman taking his time to save a single squirrel. I don't care. I loved it. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even being hostile or like argumentative. I love the fact, look, Superman respects all life. All life. And I know it might seem stupid that he like flies in and saves a squirrel, but no one is below Superman's notice. No one. No animal. No person. He will save a dog. He will save a cat from a tree. Like, there's no reason for him to do that. Even in the original Christopher Reeve movie, when he flies down and he saves a cat from a tree, he didn't actually save that cat. Have you ever seen a skeleton? Have you ever seen the remains of a cat in a tree? Have you ever climbed a tree and found a cat skeleton because it got caught up there years ago? That cat's fine. That cat's fine. But he comes down, he saves the cat, and he brings it to the little girl. And that's just a Superman thing. It's a small, little, indiscriminate kindness. And it is funny that it's exaggerated to that level, that he flies over and he grabs a squirrel. And you're kind of like, why? But like, I did kind of love that, because it also showcases how the heroes that are just looking to beat up a monster, the kind of havoc that they're causing, as opposed to him, who was not looking to cause that kind of havoc. He could put that monster down in a single blow. He could literally fly through it. He chose not to. His idea was elsewhere. And then when he noticed what was going down, like, you notice when they kill it, they were just going to let it fall. You notice that no superhero flew in to save the child. Like, they were just fighting their battle. Superman's not about that. I just call it Twix. It's okay, yeah, I get it. Hey, Bill, don't forget to stop by your local McDonald's for those TMC. I saw those today. Dude, I saw those today. I remembered you saying something about it and saying, I'm going to buy Hello Kitty, don't laugh at me. And I went by a McDonald's today. I was getting a tea and like a double cheeseburger. And I saw that and was like, oh, that had to be what he was talking about. There are Hello Kitty Ninja Turtles at McDonald's. It's crazy. It is stupid. Ior Muskrat is just obsessed with the letter X. I get it's cool, but come on. I don't think it's cool. But I also didn't think it was cool when Prince became a symbol. I don't think that stuff is cool. I think it's abstract stupidity. It's always going to be Twitter to me, even if it's... And that's right. That's the way I look at it, too. It's just Twitter. We are almost out of time on this one, and so far She-Hulk is winning, which is good, because I'll love to open a She-Hulk. There's a lot to say about Elmo, but we aren't here... Absolutely. Also, I get it. Superman is an American superhero. Arguable. He was raised in the States. He's a symbol of the U.S., etc. But honestly, the American way thing... I'm not going to get into all of that right now. But I could talk Superman as to why he's always been a world symbol, not an American symbol. But I don't plan on having that conversation right now. I don't know if you've ever spoken about this yet, but... What are your thoughts about the new Power Ranger Reignition toy line? I like that it's more for kids, but I don't know if kids really... the reason I'm not going to go into this, there are 2 videos on the channel that do talk about this. I will try to find the links to them right now to put them in the chat before we open... her. Ooh, I am going to watch that. I got to put that on. I'm sorry. I just saw something. A commentator is watching something that I absolutely have to see their thoughts on. So let me find this real quick. I'm looking for... Because that's one of them. Let me copy that. Here's this one. And then I thought there was one more of these. I thought for sure I did one more. Because I thought I covered this twice. Oh, yes. Right there. There's the second one. So there's 2 videos where I actually talked about these. And if it's brought up that you want me to talk a little bit more about them, I would be glad to do so in a separate video, because there are some interesting things to say about these. But I did actually cover this twice in 2 different videos, talking about these figures, what they are, kind of my first initial impressions and things like that. And now I'm starting to see them in the toy stores, so I might have a little more to say about them, but I think I would give them their own video. If you want more than those 2 videos specifically, then I would find a reason to come in and talk about them. Thoughts on the suit. I grew to like it. It is not my favorite Superman costume by a long shot. It is not. I think for right now, it works for him. And I hope that they adjust it and move as we go. I do not detest it by any means. Yeah, She-Hulk has won this one. I don't detest it by any means. I don't love it. It's nowhere near any of my favorite. But I also noticed that everybody is kind of moving towards their costume. Like, because we had, like, Guy Gardner, but he's not that costume yet. It's almost like we're seeing parts of it, but it's still in flux as to when they're going to reach the way that they're going to look. It almost feels like that. Some characters are spot on right off the bat, to be fair, though, so that's argumentative. I don't know. I have hopes that we will adjust the suit as we go, and it will get better and better and better. But, like, I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it. I think that it works. And for right now, with as good as it is, I'm happy with that. We talking random Hello Kitty collabs? Nice. There's a Hello Kitty that transforms into a... What? Okay, that I didn't expect. That's crazy. Okay, I got all 4 of them already. Don't judge me. I can't, to be fair. I've bought stupid things too. Look, man, life is short. Enjoy your plastic. 1,000%, man. Enjoy your plastic. If you need Hello Kitty turtles because they're ridiculous and they bring some kind of joy to your life, fantastic. Have you been to your Walmart yet, Bill? I've been looking for those reissued retro Spider-Man figures. We didn't get even one. Not one. None. Not even a peg to put them on if we even got one. Not one. I'm kind of disappointed, kind of sad. I want a J. Jonah Jameson. I don't know about that Sandman. He's kind of cool, but I don't know that I want that constant effect on the face. I don't think that that's the Sandman that, like, brings great joy to my life. Maybe if I seen him in person, I had a chance to kind of mess with him a little bit. I don't know. What I do like, I would love to have that J. Jonah Jameson. I think he's fantastic. And I would love to have that Rhino. Those are 2 figures I would love to have. Our Walmart did not get a single new or retro Marvel Legend at all. To the point where it almost seems like the Walmart that I'm closest to, the one that I work next to, I don't even know if they carry it anymore. Like, literally any of it. Like, any of it. Which shocks me, because there's nothing there. I'm going to have to go out of my way to one of the other Walmarts and check around and see if we're getting them or whatever, because as it stands right now, we don't have any. There's none in the Walmarts that I go to. And I was talking to a buddy of mine not way too long ago, specifically, regardless, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he's not finding them either. And he's also noticing that Superpowers has completely left the shelves as well. So, like, my area just seems to be, like, downgrading that aisle little bit by little bit. Right, but just... I remember seeing people using a dead belly-up Twitter bird to be... Also, Bill, did you ever see that there's a Mickey Mouse and Toy Story Megazord style combiner mecha? No, I have not. Not my Superman costume, but I thought it looked better as the movie went on. I literally tell the cashier they're for my daughter, but they're really for me. I get it, man. I get it. I have another video on here called, it's like what it's like to be a 40-year-old collector. And I talk a lot about the stigma that comes with, like, collecting toys and, like, how people look at you and how the situation plays out and how I understand it for what it's worth. But at the same time, like, I've gotten to a point in my life where I feel a certain way about the thing that I do and everything. Hey, what's going on, man? Welcome back. So, let's do it. Let's open the last one for the night, because I got to worry about work and everything, and I got to see a Red Sonja movie tomorrow, so I need to be rested. So here we go. Fantastic Four, She-Hulk, yes. This is a repaint. Let's just be fair about it. This is an egregious repaint. Egregious level repaint. Well, there went the Invisible Woman. I mean, this is her. This is her. I saw this coming. So I'm not mad about it. Literally at all. It doesn't bother me in the least. And they look like they gave us a couple of items that might make it worth it. items that are arguably better than the first one, because the first one got the gun that was bent, and that was like all she got. Here's the thing. When I discovered She-Hulk, I discovered her specifically from the Fantastic Four. I was reading Fantastic Four. There was She-Hulk. I mean, it's no more complicated than that. The Marvel Universe is vast. And you can't afford everything. At least I can't. So I could only read what I could read. I was reading Fantastic Four. All of a sudden, Ben was out. And he was replaced with She-Hulk. And over time, I started to realize what kind of character She-Hulk was. And I started to like it. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. And I liked the idea that she was on the team. And she was filling a spot. And I also liked those little character moments that we got that really showcased something about Ben. She's a Hulk. Hulk. Now, I don't care what your argument is for this. Hulks are considered to be the strength people of that universe. They're strong. And everybody pretty much argues who's going to win in a fight? Strength? It's going to be a Hulk. And then she quickly started verifying that, like, she can't use his workout equipment. Ben's workout equipment is too heavy for her. And I remember that kind of opening my eyes, being like, oh, Ben isn't just, like, tough. Because I remember for a while I used to think that Ben was, like, tough. He could take hits. He was a rock. He was a tank. That's not the case. Ben is ridiculously strong. Like, in a way that's so crazy that a Hulk cannot handle his exercise equipment. I remember that, like, stuck with me. And then there's, like, some goofy stuff with her that I started to like. And I loved this outfit. And I loved her attitude. Just like this positivity body image attitude. She was strong. She was buff. She was proud. She was sexy. She was out there. She was having fun. She was who she was. And she didn't care she didn't care what you had to say about it. And there's something that stuck with me about that. I love that. I love She-Hulk. I think she's fantastic. People would probably say, have you seen the Marvel series? I have not. I do not have an opinion about it. I don't. That's the reason when they released that figure, I remember I saw that figure, and I thought she looked pretty good for like an MCU She-Hulk. Like, it looked right as far as I could tell, and I was like, that's not a bad figure. But I don't have any association with the show or anything like that, so I don't know if it's good. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if I agree with all the statements that I've seen. I have no idea. I don't have an opinion. I do have an opinion about her. This was how I knew her. And this is the only thing I cared about in terms of that. This was my She-Hulk. So when she went off to her own comic, I didn't really follow her. I just kept with the Fantastic Four. So then I lost track of her for many years. Many years, like many of them. And then I came back and she was like, or rather, I not came back, I seen her again and she was like gray. And I was like, oh man, something must have happened. And then I came back later again and she was like big. Like Hulk level big. Like way, way, way big. Like most bodybuilders are shamed with how small they are compared to her big. Huge. And I remember being like, what happened? What did I miss? And I never actually bothered to look it up. I don't know what I missed. She was just different. Very different. I don't know how she looks currently in the comics. I have no idea. But my perception of She-Hulk, anytime that I think about her, is this. So why'd I buy this? Because it was She-Hulk, It looked fantastic. And I was under the impression that there was a chance that this was all we were going to get. That we'd never get another one. And that if I didn't put this on my shelf for the Fantastic Four, I wouldn't get another opportunity. So I bought this. It's not the costume I wanted. It's not the way that I picture her. But she does look good. She looks fantastic. So I wasn't mad at all when I picked her up. Then they announced this egregious repaint. And they announced a new head. And they announced new hands. And they announced barbells. And to say this is a win for Marvel Legends, this is a win for Marvel Legends. Good job. This is completely worth it to me. Sometimes an egregious repaint is an egregious repaint. I won't argue that. But every now and then, in fact, we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to give them a 1-up against Jada. I know right now we all love Jada Toys. Jada Toys released a Chun-Li. Red. That's it. Red. Nothing else is different. Nothing. Red. Same hands, same effect, everything. Red. That, even though it's just painted on, that's a different costume, that's a different head, that's different hands, that's different effects. If you're going to egregiously repaint something, this is how you do it. But to go ahead and put it right back to Jada, when Jada does an extra Mega Man, and they give me the no helmet head, that is about the most extreme level of buy a repaint that I've ever done in my entire life, because it's not even a repaint. They just gave me a different head and asked me to pay for the figure a second time. And I'm a putz, because I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy that Mega Man. The only difference is that he has the helmet and then he has the one without the helmet. And I'm going to buy it. Sometimes we're a putz for these repaints. Sometimes these repaints are exactly what we want them to be. And in this case, I just got a feeling. I mean, I almost don't even have to review this. Look, we talked about her. The video's already up. So let's open her and let's check out. Let's point out a couple of flaws. Okay, because there are. It's a couple of flaws. And let's look at the new stuff. Let's look at what she came with. Let's look at why the repaint is worth the money. Let's do that. Let's open her. Okay, so one thing I didn't realize, we don't have all the hands that the first one came with. Minor thing. We do have the punching hands still because she has the punching hands that are already on her. This one has the punching hands, but this one has the gun grip hand so that she can, I use it so that she could put her hand on her hip, but that was so she could like break the gun. We don't have that here. We have these two gripping hands for the barbells, and then we have the thumb and the victory sign. We're going to pull the head. That was very simple. This is the exact same head. I'm seeing, well, hold on. Okay, this is going to sound weird. And it's probably incredibly hard to see, but there is a minor paint difference between the two faces. There is a minor paint difference. And I would argue that's the better head. It's very minor, but I'm telling you, I don't know if you can see it the way that I'm seeing it, or if it's just luck of the draw. Maybe my head sculpt wasn't perfect on this one. Something about this feels like it's a better head, which surprises me. The hair is still going to be in your way. You're not going to get away from that. But inside the packaging, we had the ponytail. You pop that into the back right there. There's the new head sculpt, which, for what it's worth, that's that. So you can get a good look at that right there. I found out that sometimes if I take my ugly mug off the camera, it will actually focus on what I'm trying to show off. So let's pop this head on. The ponytail does come off. It's not perfect. It's movable to an extent because it does just kind of pop in almost like the back of a turtle bandana. And there are minor things here that are better and minor things here that make it not perfect. What's one of the things that's a bad thing? Well, they messed up on the paint a little bit, okay? It's not a big thing, but they screwed the costume up. See these little areas that are green here? That shouldn't be like that. This is incredibly minor. And it's probably something that I could fix very easily, but I shouldn't have to fix it. I don't know why they did that. Because this is supposed to be like a one-piece thing that goes up from the blue into the white. It doesn't do that. It almost feels like she's wearing a separate collar. Like this goes up, and then it goes up and it kind of cuts in, and then there's something that's laying over the top of it, like she has something that goes around. That's a little weird. That's a minor thing, and I think most people probably won't even notice it, but it's wrong. I don't remember that being a thing. I'm almost positive this was supposed to go all the way up into the blue, not like a separate thing where it cuts in and then like has a weird cut. I don't know what that's about. Otherwise, the body is completely the same as far as I could tell, but there is one thing that is slightly better. I don't know if it's a correction in the paint or a correction in the plastic. I don't know. But I noticed back when we got the first one, if you're looking at her knees, for whatever reason, are a slightly different color than the rest of her green. Like they stand out, almost like they were painted different. But her knees don't really do it the same way. Like it stays a more consistent green down across the knees and across into the elbows. It's very minor to the point where I don't even know if you could see it unless you're literally in person. Like the knees are a slightly lighter green. And I remember it bothered me to the point where I kept saying, she's Hulk green and her knees are Slimer green. I remember thinking that. And it kind of bugged me a little bit. And now they've corrected that problem. We don't have that problem. And I love that we have, I didn't expect this to be better. But I'm being honest, I really think I got a better head sculpt here. And I don't know if it's just better in general across the line, or if I just got a not perfect head sculpt and then in the next one I got a perfect head sculpt. I don't know which one of those is true. But we also got barbells, and they're not the craziest things in the world. This is what they are. There is some etching here, so it does kind of, there's enough like effect, I guess, that kind of makes them, I mean, it's cool. It's cool that they went out of their way to add that. They're not painted or anything, really. They're just what they are. But this is all they need to be. We got barbells. Like super heavy, ridiculous, good luck to you. You're a manly man if you're curling this, okay? Like you're a manly man. And she's doing it with ease. Oh! The head, she has a mild smirk. This head has a mild smirk on the ponytail head. And it works, man. It's there. I can see it. That is beautiful. Look, if you're going to re-release a figure and get me to buy it a second time, this is 1,000% how you do it. This is 1,000% how you do it. We're going to put that. And then we're going to swap this hand because we're going to use this one here. And then we're going to get this because we're going to put this barbell in the hand, which it grips it easy and it was not restrictive in terms of it. So we're going to put that barbell, we're going to curl. There might be the most minor of problems here. It kind of grips it at an angle, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. We're going to kind of put a little edge here. We're going to pick it up. Just kind of playing around here, really. But these are the two. Yes, this is an egregious repaint. I'm not going to argue that. But this is how you do it, man. These figures feel like different figures. They feel like they work. This is how you do it. If you're going to do a repaint, make it worth it. If you're going to do a repaint, just make it worth it. Give us something for that repaint. Like, that's all we're asking. We're not asking for anything severe. We're not asking for anything crazy. We just want that if you're going to give us a repaint, give us something with it. If you're going to give us Spider-Man, and then you're going to give us Spider-Man in a slightly different color scheme, give us the mask that has like the lenses where you see the buildings. Not asking for much. I'm asking for enough to make the purchase worth it. And this might be one of the best repaints I have ever seen. Literally ever. I'm not kidding. Of all the repaints, and I've seen thousands of repaints, this might be one of the best I've ever seen. Because it is 100% the exact same figure we have already bought. This is it. That's the same butt, that's the same legs, the same height, the same bicep definition. Basically, all they did was take the figure we already got, they repainted it. Then they added just enough to make it worth our time. And she is without a doubt, she's going up there on the Fantastic Four shelf. Which is a bit of a problem for you. Because I don't know where you're going now. Like, I like you. But what I was waiting for, I got. I don't know if they'll be able to sell me another She-Hulk. I don't know. Like, I've heard a couple people say they're waiting for the classic costume. To me, just because of the way I was introduced, this is the classic costume. This is her. It's all I want. I have, for a while, been wanting to make that custom. I don't necessarily want to alter her, but maybe I do. I want to make the jump rope scene, and I've been talking about it for a while. As goofy as it is, I want to make the jump rope scene. Like, and I think I could do it. Because all you got to do is paint her green, create the rope, put it around her, and create the lines, like create the thicks, so that you don't see anything. I'm not trying to show off, you know. But I do want that scene. It's funny, it's iconic, it's just like a moment. If McFarlane would sell the statue, I'd buy the statue. Just because I think it's fantastic. Sorry. This is so good. I am legit impressed. I can only call out a couple of flaws. I have a mild paint problem right here on the shoulder. I don't think that these are right. I don't think that this is supposed to be open like this. And I can also say, minor, this, she should have got the lower ab crunch. You were making, this is a new body anyway. This is a brand new She-Hulk, okay? Who we already knew we were doing new line, or rather, we were already into the new female Bucks anyway. Why didn't we just complete her? We have the double elbow, we have the double knee, we have the upper torso crunch, we have the decent neck, we have good range. The hair is a bit of a pain. We really need these hairs to, like, do what Jada's doing. Like, make these hairs a lot more pliable or whatever, malleable. Almost everything is perfect about this, except for, in a weird way, they chose to stick with the old female lower torso on a figure that they were sculpting new. In a time when we were already getting the Black Widow figure and other figures were coming in the line where they were already starting to do the lower crunch, why did we do that? I don't know. It's not enough for me to get mad. I do think it's something to call out, but I do think that, look, if you liked the Fantastic Four and you wanted a She-Hulk for that Fantastic Four, and you wanted the Fantastic Four costume, I've told you the parts that are wrong about it. But I would still buy this 100 times over. I think this figure is fantastic. I think we need to give a thumbs up. Because look, we could call Marvel Legends out 1,000 times, and yes, they deserve it. But when they do right, you got to give it to them. And in this case, I think they did right. And I think I know what you're going to do. You're going to go hang out with your cousin. You're going to go on the shelf alongside Hulk. Because I still really like that She-Hulk. And I kind of like the idea of having both looks. I think I'm going to keep that head on her. Okay. Let's check the chat before we get out of here. Can't wait to get mine. This will be the first She-Hulk for me. I should be getting mine pretty soon. And you got the better of the two, personally. She looks fantastic. Me. Say that again? Yes, you are correct. The original She-Hulk is more neon green, while Fantastic Four She-Hulk is more of a lime green. I wasn't even picking up on that. So for those that don't know, I'm high-grade red-green deficient. So, like, I mean, I could tell it's green, but when I stand them next to one another, I can't tell the difference in the green. I just thought maybe the color was bringing it out to where I could see certain details that I couldn't see in the other head. I didn't even know that. Like, I had no idea that was a thing until you just wrote that. I couldn't tell that there was a difference in the greens. That's a nice figure for sure, but I've bought 2 of the Dracula shredders just for the color variations. Right. This is not even lime green. This is glow-in-the-dark Slimer ectoplasm green. Sometimes I'm like, why did I really buy 2 of them? Right. I always found it strange why She-Hulk is just large, buff, green woman. When I first heard She-Hulk, I thought she'd be a regular Hulk. Giant, exaggerated, mass muscle, just the checklist. Well, chesticles. For a while she was. That's what I was talking about. For a while she was this big, giant, bulking Hulk. But like, I like this. I like the idea of the way She-Hulk is. And I also kind of love that while she's super exaggerated, she's still very, very feminine. And I kind of love that idea. It kind of works for like the female bodybuilders and whatnot. Like, and it very much gives them somebody that they can relate to that's still like a power fantasy, bigger and stronger than they could ever be, but something that they could work towards and find their own beauty in things like that. Like, I don't think that somebody, like, I never understood, like, I've seen people that, like, give female bodybuilders, like, a hard time. Just let those people be who they want to be. Life is too short for that kind of crap. She's going to the Instagram giveaway. That was fantastically put. Not big like Hulk, because gamma radiation or gamma radiates blood affects people in different ways. It's why the leader is just a green, big-headed guy. Why Abomination is different. Oh crap! I hadn't even considered that. Yeah, they were created from the same. Yeah. Do Hulk 2099, you cowards. We'll see. Wouldn't that be wild? So, I am going to get out of here. I got to get a couple things sorted before tomorrow and whatnot. Thanks for hanging out. And today we didn't open too many. We got technically we opened War Machine, Omega Red, Kingdom Come Superman, and Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four She-Hulk. I'm fine with that, especially since I'm already way behind on video editing anyway. I think it's more than fine. Tomorrow, I am going to watch the Red Sonja movie in an IMAX theater. I cannot wait. It's going to be so cool. I'm really looking forward to it. Like, man, it's going to be good. And I got very high hopes for this. And here's the thing. She doesn't have to be a perfect Red Sonja. She doesn't have to look perfect as Red Sonja. She doesn't have to be a perfect representation of Red Sonja necessarily, especially since the comic books have changed her over the years dramatically, and depending on what argument you have, no Sonja could ever be right. It just can't. It just can't be right, because at this point there's been so many different versions of her written by so many different people that have so many different attitudes and so many different morals, I guess, that, like, you can't really nail that down. You're just going to have to pick something that feels right, that's kind of in the middle of a lot of stuff, or just take from one idea and run with it, and you're just going to have to do it. But, that all being said, if this girl, if they make a solid Red Sonja swords and sorcery movie, right now, that is all we need. We just need to get it off the ground. That's all we need. Just get it, make it work, get it off the ground. You could argue most superhero movies that got their base, that started, had to start somewhere. You had to get it off the ground. You had to make it work. And then you tweak and play with it and make it perfect. And that's what we've been doing with superhero movies for a long time. A long time. But the swords and sorcery things, like Red Sonja, for instance, she hasn't had a success story. I want this movie to work, and it looks good. And they waited a long time to guarantee the right actress, the right director, the right setup, the right script, the right possibilities, and all the stuff that I'm seeing looks promising. I'm very much looking forward to this. I hate I work tomorrow because I want to see Red Sonja myself. I'm not selling you on this because I don't know when you'd have to be into work. It's at your theater. It's at your theater. It's at 7 o'clock. I don't know how long it is. So maybe if you had all your stuff together and you could just leave the theater and go straight to work, if that was possible. I don't know. But I'm going to see it. I'm very excited about it. I cannot wait. I have high hopes. Maybe we'll talk about it when we do the next live. Maybe we'll talk about what was good or what was bad or how I felt about it. And whether or not I'm looking forward to the idea of her handling other Red Sonja movies. Because she looks good. She looks good. I got high hopes, guys. I really do. I'm excited. I'm going with my daughter. That's going to be really cool. That might be fine. Because even if you got out of the theater at 9:30, if it starts at 7, and it was a 2.5 hour movie, which I don't think it's that long, I'd check the runtime. Anyways, I got to get out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Got to go see Red Sonja tomorrow.